Hey guys, Jesse here with Canine Perspective, and I'm joined by Dudley. Um, he's here for some research gardening stuff. He's got a couple of nips towards the owners, um, one over his vomit, uh, cleaning his ears, and then towel rubbing. Okay, so I have him fitted with the muzzle because I'm going to be in his personal space and I have to be able to get in there. Um, so I have very little uh, buffer for avoiding an attempted bite. I don't think he's going to do anything, but if he did, always want to take precautions. So we do have him fitted with the muzzle. One thing I'm going to point out is that he is uncomfortable. We can see that he's standing here. Um, and this all started once I placed the muzzle on him. This is something that he's not used to. We can see the heavy panting, which is a little bit of anxiety. Um, he is doing better now. In the beginning, when we were doing duration work with him, he was very anxious, very whiny. We corrected that. So now I would say he's like 70% good, where he'll just go and lay down, chill. And there's like 30% of the time where he'll start to get anxious or worked up. Please excuse any barking that you hear. That's my neighbor's kennel in the back. So I did notice when I was getting him ready that he has some, his ears are a little dirty. So I was like, okay, cool, I can use that as an opportunity to clean him. I do have food with me. I don't think he's going to take it because he's not really been taking his treats, but I have him anyways. So coming into his personal space, I'm going to see, does he feel uncomfortable? He is moving closer to me, kind of sniffing. Nothing that I would see as tension. And I'm coming this close because I know that he's got the muzzle. It protects me a lot more, obviously, if I didn't have anything. So I'm going to touch. I'm not going to just start with cleaning. I'm just going to touch to see how he feels about it. Okay. So he's going to sniff the rag. I don't care about that. But we noticed the panting stop. We got some lip licking there. His eyes aren't glaring. He's not tensing up. He still feels relatively loose to me. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up his ear. And this is most likely just from like him drooling. And then when his ears go into the drool, they pick up a little bit of debris. Okay. So I do notice that he's kind of turning away from here, a little bit of avoidance. Okay. Now coming into my space. Cool. All right. Go a little bit into the ear. Okay, we'll do the other ear. Okay, I'm not feeling any tension. He's definitely a little uncomfortable. But again, you see that turning away from me, that avoidance behavior, which is not bad because we have 4 responses to stress. We have fight, flight, avoidance, submission. And he's going, I can't escape this. I can't fight this. So I'm going to pretend that it's not happening. Okay? But what it does tell me is that there's a little bit of stress. And he's not a fan of what we're doing right now. That's why the head's turning away. Okay? So that's avoidance behavior. Whenever we're dealing with aggressive or defensive responses, we always do want to see avoidance. Good. I'll see if he'll take a treat from me. Nope. Okay. So again, we'll try this. I'm going to look in his ear. I do have swabs. Okay. There's a quick little lip lick there. It's super subtle. So I'm just pretend another little lip lick. So those are stress signals. There's a bigger one. So kind of pretending like I'm cleaning his ear. Okay. Coming back to the other side. These are just plain dry wiping pads. just to see what we would see here. Nothing, little lip lick. Good. All right. So no issue there. The next thing was he did bite or attempt to bite with someone rubbing him. Okay. Dry rubbing him with the towel. So I'm doing the same thing here. Again, using the muzzle because I'm all in his personal space and I don't want to have to wear a big old bite suit because that would give me less mobility. Tail's a little tucked. But I'm not seeing any tension from him. So, one thing to note here is, with the owner, they've seen resource guarding, they've seen nips or bite attempts. Can't remember if there was actually a bite over cleaning the ear, and then someone was rubbing him dry with the towel after coming in. I think it was raining or something. But we're not seeing that here, okay? So for me, and this is something that I told the owners, I go, we may not see the behaviors here at my facility, and that's a drawback to a board and train. And part of that is because the day he was dropped off, training and discipline and accountability and consequence all kick in immediately. So his first association here is, well, if I get out of line, they will correct me. So we did 3 days of training before we pressed the resource guarding and then didn't see anything. We gave him a raw bone. He's actually had very little interest in his milk bones, which he gets regularly, and then the raw bone that we offered him. And we left him for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then 2 hours. And I came back, and then nothing each of those times because he didn't have any interest in the bone. And then now, a couple days later, pressing the touch sensitivity with the ears, the towel rubbing, rubbing his ears on the outside, going actually in his ears, and then dry rubbing them with the towel, and still not seeing anything. And in my opinion, this all just stems from the fact that it's been disciplined from the start here, right? So if a dog is truly a resource guarder, in my opinion, we're going to see it in any situation. We're going to see it at home, and we're going to see it at my facility. If a dog is a resource guarder because he's bullying the family or the people around him, then it's going to be situational. The dog will do it at the home, but then the dog won't do it here because he knows he can't get away with that stuff. Essentially, we're bigger bullies than he is, so that keeps him in his place. So unfortunately, I'm leaning more towards he's doing this behavior as a bully. That's why we're not seeing anything here. But that's not anything I could work on because it's tied to the home setting. If it was he was becoming defensive or aggressive because he doesn't like people in his ears, if he doesn't like people rubbing his ears or rubbing him dry with the towel, right? That's him actively not liking something. We would see it here, which then we could correct, but then we could also pair it with food to get him to accept those things, right? He may not necessarily like them, but he'll go like, okay, this is part of life. If I act out, I'll be corrected. If I don't act out, I'll be rewarded, right? And then we would transfer that to the owner. The owners would repeat the exercise, and then life goes on. But if it's something where he's bullying the owners, and this is where we go, okay, well, we have to fix that relationship, where he has to respect the owners, because it doesn't matter how much we work with him in condition, like, hey, towel rubbing and ear cleaning and all that stuff is normal. Plus, we pair it with food. It doesn't matter because it's not the activity that he doesn't like. It's who is doing it, right? So he's like, well, if I don't respect you, then I won't allow you to, rub my ears or clean my ears, X, Y, Z. So this is where it falls more on the owners, and they have to do these exercises. Because even if I do this every day with him, once he goes home, once he settles in after a couple of weeks, he's gonna go, okay, back to the same old. He's gonna give us the same behavior he did before. So, but I want to show one. Obviously, we have to use a muzzle here because you see that I'm going act like I'm in that personal space. So if I'm gonna be right directly next to his bite zone, I need something that's gonna protect me. But I'm not seeing any tension. I'm not seeing, we didn't see any hackles. I didn't feel him tensing up or locking up, anything like that. He is getting a little anxious, so you're probably hearing him on the mic here. So I just tapped him for being for whining. But when it comes to these behaviors, like the resource guarding, for example, for me, the defining thing is if the dog does it in either setting or anywhere, then the dog for me is a resource guard. It doesn't matter where the dog is at. It doesn't matter who's being handled by who the dog is being handled by. They're just going to guard regardless. But when we get things like this, where the behavior goes away when they're here, but then when they go home, they exhibit the behavior. Then I go, this is a structural problem. I see this a lot with reactivity, with leash reactivity, where the dog will be reactive with the owner. Then we take the dog and we see zero reactivity here, right? I go, this is tied to the owner, this is tied to lack of structure. And then we get dogs that with the owner and with us, they're reactive. And I go, okay, this is just a dog that legitimately has leash reactivity. Okay, so just a quick little video on Dudley and then testing ears, touch sensitivity with the ears, and then of course the towel drying and not seeing anything, not seeing any real signs of tension. But just going to show how we go about pressing these behaviors. I'm Jesse with Camp Perspective. Thank you for watching.